Good morning, dear learners. I hope I am audible and my screen is also shared. Could you please acknowledge it on the
Yes, sir.
chat?
Audible. Yes, sir. Audible and visible, sir.
Uh,
Sir, audible, sir.
okay. Okay. So, good morning, dear learners. Welcome to the first session and first unit on the course of Fundamental of C Lab. And my name is Shirish Nagar, and I'll be taking up this course. So, yesterday we have studied the theory class, and in the theory class we have understood about the what is C language and what are the different properties of C language. Okay, so we will revise it and then we will start with the lab session. Okay, so the guidelines for the session today is to maintain discipline for a smooth conductance of the interactive live session. All the learners are required to type in their name with enrollment number and program name to mark their attendance. You can raise your doubts after the completion of sessions. Try not to intervene in between, and you will only post relevant questions. Okay. So the learning objectives today, we will discuss again the what is the origin of C language, what is a C compiler, what is the structure of a program, and then we will do several experiments through tool, okay, through a development tool. So, what is C language? I have already told you that C is a programming language. It is middle level to high level programming language, and it was developed by Dennis Ritchie at AT&T Bell Labs. And C is portable because uh, it can be executed on different architectures, and C is very popular. Okay, C is a structured programming language, right? So, and C contains a rich set of library. Library means predefined functions, predefined functionalities. Okay. In the last session, in the theory session, we have discussed the evolution of C language. So the C started with BCPL, okay, which was a programming language before uh, C language, and then on BCPL, a new language B was developed by Ken Thompson at Bell Labs, and then C language was used to develop Unix operating system in 1970. Then the Digital Electronics uh, firm or the corporation developed a PDP-7 assembly language, and then after this evolution, C was developed in 1971 finally. Okay, by 1973, Unix operating system was almost written in C language. So C is was used to develop the Unix operating system. Coming to the how the C compiler works or what is C compiler, first of all, we should note that C comes from a free software foundation. Okay, it means that it is sold under GNU public license, that is for general usage. So general usage public license means it is free for all to use. And Unix comes with a built-in C compiler, which is called GCC. So GCC stands for GNU C compiler. Okay. So GCC. stands for GNU C compiler. And what is GNU? GNU is for general usage. Okay, general usage. It means that it is free for all to use. Okay, that is, it means that it is for everyone to use. Okay, so it belongs from it is a free software. So there is a foundation called Free Software Foundation. Okay, there is a foundation called Free Software Foundation. So Free Software Foundation has offered it for all to use. Now we can use different development tools. We can use different development environments for developing C program. Uh, we can use different IDEs. So IDEs is called Integrated Development Environment. Okay. So there are different IDEs and development tools which are available. The most prominent one is Turbo C. Okay, so Turbo C, Turbo C++. So this is one of the tools which you can use to develop a C programs. In this lab session, we will be using another tool called Code Blocks. So Code Blocks is provided by Code Blocks organization for developing a C program. Some also use VS Code, so that is also allowed. Okay, you can also use VS Code, right? So these are different popular tools which you can use for developing C program. But my preference will be Code Blocks because it is simple to use. In fact, Turbo C is also simple to use, but it always switches between different graphic user environment, or it switches in the GUI. You can also use VS Code. So these are freely downloadable from internet. You can you can type Code Blocks installing or Code Blocks installation on Google, and you will be provided the installer. Okay, so we need if you are working on Windows environment, for Windows environment, always go for MingW C compiler. Okay, so MingW stands for minimalistic GNU C for Windows. Okay, so this is the compiler which we are looking for. This is called MingW C compiler that we will be using for our lab sessions. Okay. So hopefully you are able to understand that what has to be done in this lab. So I would need students to install this installer on their respective laptops. And please, learners, try to understand that since this is a lab session and since this is a lab session, so all of you are required to install the development tool on your respective laptops. This lab cannot be appreciated on a cell phone. So I won't recommend learners to use cell phone during the lab session. Okay. So the some students are asking when the class has started. Class started at 11 o'clock sharp. Okay. So and this is not a theory session. Yesterday we had a theory session. This session is a lab session. And this is the first lab session. Okay. So some student already has VS Code. There is no problem in that. You can use VS Code for developing C program. Okay. So fine. There is different procedure for installing Turbo C for installing Code Blocks. You can go to internet and check out how we are going to install it. In this lab, we will be demonstrating using Code Blocks. Okay, so yesterday we have in the last theory session, I have discussed the structure of a C program, but we will discuss the structure of the C program again. So what is a program? You know that program is contains a set of instructions, and we will be using programming language to write a C program. Okay. So we start with some documentation. So in the beginning of the program, we write some documentation in comments. So comments can be written in single line and multi-line comments. Okay, why do we need comments? Comments cannot be compiled. Okay, comments are just for your understanding of code. So the comments can be written in single line, comment can be written in multi-line comment. So if you want to write single line comment in C language, you can use double slash. Okay, or if you want to write multi-line comment, you can write slash star and then close it with asterisk slash. The symbol star symbol is called asterisk. Okay, this is called asterisk, right? So we will be using double slash for single line comment, and we will be using this closed part with slash star and star slash. This is called a multi-line comment. Multi-line comment. So you can write code in multiple lines. Okay. Then we do linking. So linking is done by preprocessor directive. So this hash symbol is called preprocessor directive. Okay. So we always start by linking two different library files. So if you want to link your code with different library files, you have to use include directive. So you will write hash include. Okay, so this is called a pre-processing, means before the compilation can begin, you will link your program with pre-compiled code. For example, if you want to display some output message, or if you want to take some input value from the user, you will use a standard library file for input output, which is called stdio. Some students write studio. Studio is not right. It is stdio. Okay. It stands for standard input output. Okay. So it stands for standard input output. So how do we write it? Include stdio dot h. Okay. Stdio dot h. So this is how we write. So what is .h? .h is the header file. Header file means library file. Okay. So it's a library file. What is library? Library contains pre-compiled functions or pre-known functions, means the compiler already knows these functions, has already compiled these functions. I have already told you what is compiler. Compiler converts your high-level language program into low-level machine language code. This is the work of compiler, right? So if some code is pre-compiled, it means it doesn't need to be compiled again. But if you want to use the functions present in this library file, you have to link it with your program. So the linking is achieved by include the directive. Okay, so this section is called link section. Then there comes a define section. So define section will require you to write a hash define. So hash define means if you want to define some constants in the beginning, let's say you are doing some mathematical operation using pi. Okay, so you will write define pi is 3.14. Okay, so this is how you use define section. This section is called definition section. You can also use this definition section for function definitions. Okay, so you can put function prototypes in this definition section. Then we have got global declaration section. Whatever variables you want to access across the program, you can declare that here. Then we write main function. I'll tell you what is main function, and then we can have other sub program section and the user defined functions. We will come to that later. No problem. Okay. But for right now, you can understand this structure. Okay, so the structure contains documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration section, main function in which we will write some instructions, then subprogram and user defined functions. Right. So we will start by printing hello world on the screen. Right. So let me share the code blocks screen with you. So I am opening code blocks. Can you see the entire screen? Can you see code blocks window? Okay. So this is code blocks window. What we will do is we will open or we will create a new file. You can create a new class file. You can create a new file. Okay. It will ask you what type of file you want to create. So let's say you want to create a source file. Okay. Which type of file, C file you will create. You can give path wherever you want to store that path. So let's say I want to create a file called exp1 or hello world.c. Okay, I will name the program as hello world. Click finish. Okay, so I have created a file called hello world.c. So this is how you create a file. Now, what you can do is, since it is a C program, it will understand the constructs of C program. So the first you will include a header file. So which header file we have to include? stdio.h. So this is the first header file we have to include. Okay. After that, we don't have any definition section. We don't have any main function. Sorry, we don't have any global declaration section. So we can directly write main function. So main function can be written either writing by int main. So what is function? Basically, function is like mathematics. Function is also there in C language. There is an input to the function. There is an output of the function. So what type of output or what type of value the function will return is called the return type of the function. So this return type of the function is written before the function. So let us assume that my function main is going to return an integer value. So I will write here int. Okay, so int here is the keyword which specifies that what is the data type of the value returned by the function. Okay, so int, you know what are integers? Integers are negative values, positive values, which don't have any fractional part, including zero. So they are known as integers. So here I am writing main function. So there are no arguments, there are no input values to this function. So I will keep this round brackets empty. These round brackets are known as parenthesis. Okay. So now I'm going to write the body of the function, what I should do inside the function. So that function body is delimited by curly braces. So whatever function I want to write or whatever statements I want to write in the function, I will put it inside the curly brace. Okay. So this tells me the block. The curly brace tells me the block of how many lines are there inside the function. Okay. So I am just having one or two lines in this. First is to print the hello world. So I will simply write what I want to print, hello world. Okay, so I will simply print hello world. Okay. For every statement written in C language, it is necessary to put semicolon. So semicolon is the terminating symbol or termination symbol in C program, in a C language. Okay. Yes, I have told this is code blocks. So I hope you are able to understand what we mean to communicate by writing this semicolon. So semicolon is the terminating symbol. Many students are asking whether they can work on VS Code. Of course, you can work on VS Code. There is no problem. But since I had to select some tools, so the tool that best suits, I have selected it. Okay. You want to zoom in. For that, I have to check settings if I can do editor settings. Maybe for general settings. Okay, I have to search whether the font size is appropriate. Okay, so I have zoomed it in a bit. Hopefully that is okay now. So inside this program, so now this function has to return some value. So I will write here return 0. Okay. So since my function had to return some integer value, I have written 0. So here 0 is also a return code. Return code means it will return without any error. So 0 means that. Okay. It is also necessary to put code comment. So I will put code comment by writing double slash says that simple hello world program. Okay. So I have written a code comment in a single line. Okay. You can also add multiple line comments. That is also okay. Always press Ctrl S for saving your code and simply you can run the code. So when you run the code, it will ask you to build it. Build means to compile it. So building and compiling is one and the same thing. So I want to build it. Yes, I want to build it. So it has built the code and it is returned me hello world on the output window. So this is called the terminal window or output window on which it displays the output. So here you can see hello world being printed. Okay, you can also print your name and try this code. So students who are trying, I will share this code with you on chat. Okay, so I have shared this code with you on chat. So those who are trying to run the code, they can run it, right? So many students are asking to re-explain the code, but I'll do that. But hopefully next time you will pay more attention for in the very first time. So here this include section allows you to include input output functions. Okay, include input output functions in your program. So this is called a library file. So this is a library file which is called standard input output. Okay, standard input output dot header file. So it is header file, that is why its extension is .h. Then we have got a main function. So this is your main function and its return type is 0. Okay, so the return type is integer, sorry. Return type is integer. So for integer, we use a keyword called int. What is keyword? Keywords are also known as reserved words. So there are 32 keywords in C language. out of which one of them is integer. So integer is a data type. Data type means type of data. So here's main returns an integer type. But let's say if I don't want to return any value, or I will write here void. So for when I will write void, I'm not supposed to write this statement. So if I don't want to write this statement, uh, to that is return 0, I will declare the return type of the function as void. So void functions do not return any value. Okay, so void functions do not return any value. So if you run this program, output will have no difference. So output will have no difference. Output will still be the same. But I have just changed the data type, the return type of the function from integer to void. So in void functions, you can simply write return command. If you can just simply write return command, but you cannot return any value in void functions. So if I write command like this, that is also fine. No change. Okay. So what does here return means? It will simply return control. It will simply return control to the program. Okay. But if I'm writing return 0, it will return value and control together. So it returns control and value, both are returned. Okay. But which type of value we are returning here? We are returning integer value. Okay. Why we are returning integer value? Because the return type was int when we wrote this return 0 command. Okay. Semicolon is the terminating symbol. What is printf? Printf is a formatted output function. Okay, which returns an output, and it takes a string argument. So what is a string? A string is nothing but a combination of characters, and strings are enclosed in double quote marks. So here strings are enclosed in double quote marks. So this string we have written hello world. Uh, you can change the string. Okay, let's say I have written hello all. So then it will print hello all. Wait a minute. It needs to be compiled and then it will. Okay. So now it is printing hello all. Okay. So hopefully the explanation of the command was there. Return 0, it returns control and value. Okay. So since the return type was previously int main, so if I write here int main, it will not work with return. So if you try to run it, it will give you an error. What error it will give you? See, it is given an error. It says that error return with no value in function returning non-void. Why it is non-void? Because it is integer. So you should return what? You should return an integer value called 0. So this time it will work right, because this time I have written an integer value. Okay. So is this program clear to everyone? Now we move on to the next program. So coming back to the program, now we are having another objective to display our name, address, and city in different lines. So we will take input from the user and display your name, address, and city in different lines. Okay. Is the objective clear? We will ask the user to enter their name, and address and city in different lines. So for taking input, we will use a function called scanf. Okay, printf, you know. So here what we have done, we have taken arrays. So what are arrays? Arrays are collection of values. So here arrays can be used to depict strings. Strings means like your name is a string, your address is a string. It contains multiple characters. That is what you call as a string. If you're writing only single letter, single character, it is simply character. But if you want to store strings, then you have to use character array. So character arrays are strings. But which, okay. So character arrays are strings. So here you have to tell that what is the maximum length of this array. So if you want to, let's say that you assume your name contains maximum 20 characters and your address contains maximum 80 characters. The name of your city contains maximum 20 characters. Okay, this is what we are assuming. Now we are asking the user to enter the name, right? So when you enter any value, you have to scan it. Okay, so what is scanning? Scan function. Scan takes input from the user in a particular format. So what type of format you want? You want format here as string. Okay, you want the format here as string. So string format you use, so you will use a format specifier. You will use a format specifier. So format specifier will tell you what type of value you are going to input. So since we want to input a string, the format specifier will be %s. Okay, there are multiple format specifiers. If you want to take integer value, the format specifier is %d. Okay, if you want to take a float value as input, you will use %f as the format specifier. If you want to take a character as input, then you will see use %c. If you want to take string as input, you will use %s as the format specifier. Okay, there are other format specifiers also, like long integer, long float for double. So there are multiple data types for which we use different type of format specifier. So since we are taking string as input, so we will use a format specifier as %s. So since name is a string, we will take input and store it in name. So here ampersand symbol we are using. So ampersand means address of operator. Ampersand is called address of operator. Okay. So address of operator allows you to take input from the user. Okay. So we will be using %. Okay. Ampersand name. So this uh, this symbol is called ampersand. Okay, this symbol is called ampersand, right? So here we will use ampersand to take input from the user, and then whatever value the user gives, it will be stored in these variables in this array. So I enter my name, it will be stored in name because I have stored it here ampersand name. So it will store at the address of where name is. Okay. Similarly, whatever address I will give, it will be stored in the address array. Whatever city I will give, it will be stored in the city address. And then I will print these variable value on the screen. So this time I'm using again format specifier in printing. So I'm using format specifier for printing. Previously, I was using format specifier for scanning. So since I'm using variables now to be and their value to be printed in the printf, I have to mention the format specifier also. If I didn't have to use variables for printing values, no need of specifying format specifier. But if I am using variables to provide values in printf, I will you have to use their respective format specifier depending upon what type of variable it is. Since it is a string variable, I will use the format specifier %s. If it would have been an like integer value, I would have used the %d. Okay, if it would have been a float value, I would have used %f. Right? So this program we are going to implement. there are 32 keywords in C language, out of which we have used here some keywords. Okay, we have used two keywords, integer and void so far. And the third keyword was return. So, and in this program, we have used another keyword called character. So out of 32, you have used four already. Okay, so these are the four keywords which we have seen so far out of 32 keywords. So, and I have already told you other type of keywords. For float, it is float only. Okay, so float value which contains decimal part, which contains a fractional part. So float values are those which where your number contains a fractional part. Okay. I would like to mention one thing about character. Characters have a code which is associated to them, and this code is called ASCII code. ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Okay, so all the characters that you type from the keyboard, they all have a code associated with them. Okay, and that code is integer value. So this character is also a type of integer value when it comes to a numeric data format. So now we are going to implement this program through code blocks. Okay, so we will modify this program only. We are going to declare variables. Okay, so we will declare variables here only. Yes, I won't be able to make to turn on your microphone, but you can type in your query. Shiv has raised hand. So you can type your query in the chat only because I won't be able to like unlock your microphone access. Okay. Student is asking which software. Although I have mentioned it several times, this software is Code Blocks. Okay, but students are free to use other. We used to you can use like other softwares like VS Code, Turbo C. In fact, Notepad also you can write program. Okay. So now what we are going to do is I have to declare character arrays. Arrays are represented by square brackets in which we mention the maximum length of that array. So here I am going to declare character arrays. First is name. So inside name, I am assuming that maximum name can be of 20 characters. Okay. So maximum length of the name can be 20 characters. So I am declaring length of this variable, which I am enclosing in square bracket. Then I am creating another variable for address. And I am assuming that maximum length for this address can be 80 characters. Similarly, I am also creating another character array for city. So I am also assuming that maximum character length of city will be 20 characters. Okay, so these three variables I have created. So there are multiple ways of creating variables of the same data type. You can separate it them by comma, or if you want to write it in multiple lines, that also you can do. So like for example, I want to put semicolon here, then I have to write here character. So that is also fine. This also I can do. But why to write the same thing again and again? So it is better I will use comma. Okay. So here I have created three array variables, character array to store string. Now I am asking the user printf enter your name. So enter your name I am asking. And then for this question, I am scanning the value entered by the user through the keyboard on the screen. And what type of value the user will enter? User will enter a string value. So I have to capture it in the string format. So I will mention here the format specifier as %s. And here I will be storing it in where? In the name variable. So I will be storing this value in the name variable. Okay. And put semicolon here. Then I will again ask another question. Enter your address. Okay. So enter your address is the next question. But this time I will capture it in, I'm using copy paste. Okay. For saving time. This time I will store it in address variable. Okay. The third question will be to enter your city. So enter your city will be the third question. Then I will capture it in which variable? City variable. So I will write here ampersand city. So all these variables are now having values entered by the user. So user was entering values to the keyboard and all these variables name, address and city have the values. Now I will print it on one line after another. One more thing, it is advisable to use a new line character, which is called /n. So if you want to have a message printed on the screen on a new line, you can use a new line character in the beginning. Okay, so so this is a new line character /n. So if you put /n, then whatever value you will print, it will like printed on new line. Or but if you put /n at the end, it will leave a line after your message is printed. So it depends upon where you insert this new line character. Okay, so now we will be printing the values. Printf your name is, so what is your name? %s, and it will come from the name variable. Similarly, I will print other two messages. Sorry. So here I will print your addresses, and here I will replace it with address, and your city is, and then I will print it city. Okay. And since it is a integer int main, I will have to return 0. Okay. Control S for saving the code. Return 0, I have told you that since the main function is will return a value, it is printing return value. Okay. So let's try and run it by build and run. See what output we are getting. It is asking me my name. Let's say my name is ABC. Enter your address. Let's say my address is XYZ. And your city. Let's say my city is PQR. So it is printing your name is ABC, your address is XYZ, your city is PQR. But it is not showing in a nice way. I forgot to put /n. So let's put /n somewhere. So /n here, /n here, /n here. That would be fine, right? So inserting new line character will help. So let's run it again, see if it gets a good readable output. Enter your name ABC, enter your address, enter your city PQR. Okay. Your name is ABC, your address is XYZ, your city is PQR. Fantastic. Okay. So it is printing the values as what we have entered. Okay. So I'll share this code with you for your reference. You can also take screenshots. Control Shift print screen is the shortcut. Control Shift print screen, Control C, and put it in some Word file. That is also fine. So I have shared the code with you. Okay. So try it at your level. See if it works. Okay. So hopefully those who are trying should be able to run this code. Okay, percent %s. Again, I'm saying this thing that percent %s is for string format. I will make some modification, then you will learn. Let's say I am creating an integer variable age, and I am creating a float variable as salary. Okay, so let's assume that I have modified this code. I have created two more variables. First is for age and the second is for salary. So I will ask these questions for the user. Enter your age. Okay, so this time I will enter the age. But what format specifier do you think I should use for age? Since age is integer variable, the format specifier will be %d. Okay, so %d will be required where you want to input an integer value. So if you want your user to enter an integer value and you want to store this value as integer, you will use the format specifier as %d. Okay. Similarly, since salary is a float value, so salary is a float value, I will use which format variable? Format specifier %f. So %f will tell me that the value that will be entered by the user will be a float type value. So I forgot to change the variable name here, and this will be the salary. Okay, so salary will be the variable in which we will store it. So we can print this value here on the screen. So enter your age is, so age is what? %d. So I'll replace this variable with age, and then your salary is what? %f. Okay. So I will here put salary. So I have modified this program to enter more type of values. So many students are raising hand, but unfortunately, it is not the protocol to unmute your microphones. You can type it in the chat. I will be answering. So here, enter your name ABC, enter your address XYZ, enter your city PQR, enter your age, let's say 100. Okay, enter your salary 100. Okay, so these are some values which I have entered. So let's see if it is rendering values. So can you see the difference between the first 100 and second 100? The second 100 will take into account the decimal values, the fractional part also in the numeric value, in the numeric data. So it is having it is having enough space in the memory to store the fractional part of the numeric value. So that is why it is adding additional the places. Okay, the decimal places. So it is adding those additional decimal places because it has got sufficient value to store that in the memory. But for integer, it does not have that much space for storing the value. Okay. So I guess this example is clear to you. Okay, so now we will go to again the slide. So I have discussed different operators. So there are different type of arithmetic operations which you can perform. Like we will be focusing our attention primarily on the arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operators here are plus, minus, into, multiplication, division, and modulo, right? And these are known as arithmetic operators. Okay. Then we have got relational operators. Relational operators. So this is relational operator. Relational operators are for comparison of data. So these are known as relational operator, right? So these are known as relational operators. But we will focus our attention on arithmetic operator for now. So arithmetic operator are used for performing like arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. Modulus means taking remainder of the two divisions. So we will be making a calculator which will allow us to display some numeric calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. Modulus means the remainder of the division. So for modulus, we will use percent operator. Okay. So fine. Most of the students are able to understand the code. No, you cannot send messages to everyone in the group. You can send the message only to me. Uh, right. So we will again go to code blocks. So here, let's make another program. So I will create a class here. We will create a new file. So new file. So new file is source file. And I will make a file as calculator. Calculator.c. So here the same story again. We will include stdio.h, and then we will make a main function here. Okay, so inside the main function, we will have multiple variables. We can declare multiple variables, but for performing any like arithmetic calculation, we will at least need two numbers, num1 and num2. So we have declared two numeric variables, num1 and num2. And then to store the result of arithmetic operations, we have to declare uh, different. You can also use one variable and replace it with the different calculations. Okay, but it is not advisable. So let's say we are declaring multiple variables for sum, because if you add two integer numbers, the sum will always be integer. If you subtract two integers, the difference will always be, and difference will be always integer. If you multiply two integers, the difference, the product will always be integer. So based upon that, we are declaring the data type also. So integer is the data type for the output. Sum, difference, product, quotient, and remainder. So these are the five outputs which we want to calculate based on arithmetic operations between these two numbers. Okay, so now I will ask the user to enter two numbers. So enter two numbers. Okay, and I will scanf as %d %d. Percent D means enter two numbers. Okay, so two values I am taking input as. And then I will be storing them in respective variables num1 and num2. Okay, so using comma operator, you can separate the variables in which the respective values will be stored. So if you are storing two numbers, then I will be writing %d and will be putting the respective variable name separated by comma. Okay. So I have entered two numbers, or you can print it in multiple lines also. Printf enter one number, scanf, but you will store only one number. Now I will calculate the sum. So what is sum? Sum will be num1 plus num2. Okay, sum will be num1 plus num2. What is difference? Difference will be num1 minus num2. What will be product? Product will be num1. What is the multiplication operation? Multiplication operator. This is asterisk sign. Num1 into num2. What is quotient? Quotient is num1 divided by num2. What is modulus? What is remainder? Remainder is num1% num2. Okay. Some student make a mistake of putting space between variable name. That is not allowed. Okay. Also, there is no need to have spaces between the operator. That is also not required. Okay, don't put unnecessary spaces where they are not required. You can put spaces, you cannot put spaces, but in variable names, you should not put spaces. In name of constants, in name of functions, space will mean different. Right? So I have calculated 5 values. You know what is remainder? Let's say I will want to calculate remainder of 5 divided by 3. What is remainder? 5 when divided by 3, the remainder is 2. So that 2 will be printed as output if you use that. But what is the quotient? 5 divided by 3. The quotient is 1 because 3 will go one time in 5. Now I will print all these values. Printf, the sum is, okay, put a slash n here. Sum is %d. %d what? Sum. Okay. What will be the next line? So difference, the difference is diff. Then product is pro. Then quotient is QU. Okay, the respective variables name I am printing. And remainder is REM. So all these values we will be printing. Right? And then finally we will add return 0. So this is the program that we are creating for. Again, some student is asking what is the name of editor. Several times I've mentioned the name of editor is code blocks. So please note it down somewhere. Slash n, yes, slash n is called new line character. These symbols which start with slash are known as escape sequences. Escape sequences. Okay. So let's try this code, see if it works. Okay, so it is asking me to enter two numbers. Let's say I use 5 and 3. So the sum of 5 and 3 is 8. The difference of 5 and 3 is 2. The product of 5 and 3 is 15. The quotient of 5 divided by 3 is 1. The remainder of 5 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so it is giving correct output, right? So hopefully you are able to understand this code. It's pretty simple. I will copy this code on the chat for you to refer. STDIO, I have told one or two times, it is called standard input output header file. It contains inbuilt functions for input and output like printf and scanf. Okay, so students are asking what is, and main function contains when the file is supposed to be executed. Means main is the first function which is called by the compiler when the file gets executed, when the file gets compiled. So it always starts compilation from main function. So it is, the name itself is main, means this function has to be mandatorily written in a C program. Okay, so this function is called by the compiler when the program is compiled. So it is the root of all functions. But the definition of this is present in the this is defined by the user, means how the main function will behave, that is defined by the user. Okay, so we will do two programs only today. That's all for today's session. Hopefully you have understood programming to some extent. Try out this code to convert Fahrenheit into degree centigrade. Take the screenshot, write a C program to convert Fahrenheit into degree centigrade. Okay, try this program, convert Fahrenheit into degree centigrade. You know the formula. Okay, so degree centigrade or Celsius formula is C is equal to F minus 32 divided by 1.8. Okay, so since you are dividing by a fractional value, the output will also be a fractional value. So thank you very much. Happy learning. Okay, I'll give you some exercise. Some students are demanding for exercise. First is to convert Fahrenheit to centigrade. This is the first question which you can do. Second is to calculate simple interest. Okay, this you can try. These two exercises you do today yourselves. Okay, don't rely on Google. Try to do it yourselves.